Okay, so last time I was talking about the data device for our sound system, codecs mainly. Today I'm going to tell something about the soundcards, otherwise the main sound processors. Not that long ago, having the sound card in your computer was not that obvious. There was a time when most of games had this funny audio installation process where you were supposed to identify your card by yourself and choose all the proper parameters to hear something else. Or something at all besides PC speaker, which was just simplest MIDI player, rather annoying than giving fun time. I have to say also that the whole process was many times just checking options after one after one, praying for it would work. You also should know that there was also an option to use your keyboard synthesizer using MIDI port. It was just like PC speaker, but it played your keyboard instruments. Then there was a time when every PC board had some sound card integrated. We were paying more for motherboard and often simply staying with what it offered, what was rather devastating for the business that invested a lot of their unique technologies. So after a few years, the rivalization between different producers shrinked from how it was earlier. You can ask what difference it can make and why to bother buying some additional sound card. Well, the answer is simple, and there are two of them. The quality of sound is the first one, but there is also the interface type and the advancement issue. Standard card is offering 3 jack ports, line out, headphones and mic in. The most advanced ones, many ports of different kind for audio in, out, for many speakers, mainly jack, but it is better to have 2.5 ones, 2 or 3 rows for audio mixing that are not resonating together, so you can simultaneously play and record what you are playing, and you cannot do it with every card using the integrated as a second, because they rarely or never work together, making you choose only one to be active. Microphone input, SLR with phantom power feature for capacity-based microphones. Some of them have also MIDI port or their remote control IRDA modules, Bluetooth and even antenna inputs, but this is rather a VCR card feature. One of my favorite ones, Sound Blaster X5, had also its own powerful processor with own RAM sticks and was improving the game latency. You should think about that, what you would be doing before buying such equipment. It is rather unknown why, but true, the fact that there are not many options that would allow you to work on the output and input at once. I don't know how it is today, but not long ago even the best single cards were not able to do it, having even problems with microphones when they were too close to the speakers. The most differences are inside though. You have many systems to choose from, but you are not familiar with all of them, and you cannot know which one is the best. There are drivers letting you emulate 3D, X.1, 2, 3 sounds, enhancers, game module launchers, headphone recognizer, etc. You could say that we should be able to do it on every equipment with standard CPU, but it isn't just working, and there are often problems with driver synchronization. There are simply too many cards, system and CPUs with their motherboards to do it. Today there are in fact tube amp emulators even with clean electron physics based rules, but nothing sounds like the real tube amplifier with proper trafo and power end. We can always use a separate amplifier though, and they are not always so expensive as we may think. For proper stereo amplification we should choose 2, 3 diode or triode quadrode systems minimum. It is like that because we need to have 2 separate stereo lines and one for the bass. The diode based have this advantage that the lamps can be changed separately after burning out, but they also need separate trafos. Comparing this to the for example 10-pin lamp with one power input in the center that work with only one trafo, but when you would check their prices they can be really expensive and hard to find. You may ask why not to power the diodes with one trafo. Well, they will hardly get along with each other. when one would take more power, there would be less for others, so they would need to be very huge, have many capacitors, and even if you would manage to synchronize them, you would have problem from the beginning when you would want to change single one, and it would differ from original one. People who managed to make these kinds of amps often were crushed when they realized that after renewing them, all the good vibes took off, leaving only memories. The same thing happens when you need to change the used truffles and you could not get the original one. Today we use cheap transistor-based amplifiers, and they are rather easy to build them from scratch. Even yourself, there are so many schemes for that. Everyone should find something proper. The problem is that you can hear them in action. In the past there was this type selection problem between A and B type, where one was power wasting but had no lag, and second one gave no power until the input signal started to flow. And this is not an issue no more, because we have better time attacking transistors today, so the difference are not that hearable. And they don't drain the power so much at when they are being opened, causing some power issues. No one really cares about today, because of the fact that most used types today are C-type, playing the digitized, not analog signals. I myself came on this idea that can connect both versions and simply make analog signal from the cipher one. We should use for this resistant potentiometers that would work as earthquake detectors, where the leading signal would make the needle ride on the resistor, changing the place where the steered signal would get out from it, making the whole way less or more resistant, changing the big signal voltage change on this resistor. The solid ones could have some problem with sneezing, but there is also always an option to make some ferromagnetic fluid that would operate at volume-to-volume idea, or use some ball pen idea. The advantage of this is that we practically do not need any other easily heating parts, and the signal should be almost identical, making the digital signal more or less analog. Even when the bandpass will be smaller, it should enhance the signal. The other idea I have come lately is my upside down Kirchhoff's law divider. It looks like this. You make one main line split to 2 with some proportions you need, and then you split both lines by 2, but you connect the middle ones into one backwards. So you have 1 2 1 3, then you have 2 4 2 1 and a half, and then you have 3 1 and a half and 3 6. Check it by yourself. It will change voltage, not the current. You may imagine the one more line with infinity resistance, 1 to 1 to 5. 1.5. The one more option is to use ferromagnetic core based rounds to make the passing signal stronger or less strong. This works on the energy sustain rules and indication rules. One more idea I had, and you could check out, it is to use some large LED instead of tube amplifiers that may work because of the proton depletion instead of electron emission rules. It should be pretty much the same. The last thing you can add to make the amplifier stronger is putting the line split at the end. One line goes to 0 and the other one ends with resistor and condenser. The whole circuit will look as if the condenser is almost end of it, but the whole capacity of line should be higher, making the voltage bigger, like if the 0 was in fact minus of some kind, stocking the voltage to the bigger difference, plus minus instead of plus 0. The last thing you should care about is to make your amp rather compatible with different impedances of speakers. This is the parameter that is telling the rules of speaker power creation versus the power it is run by. Simply, if you would push down the speaker, it is making some power that can come back overloading your amp. I thought about maybe trying 2-diode 2-cap system that could not pass anything in one direction. Also, I think it is possible to make 4 connectors on the speakers, where 2 of them will power the speaker and 2 will take power it creates and power the LED battery or let it out and recycle it. It is also a good idea to make the speaker minus from the both original and amplified signal. For synchronization we can use resistors, lamp tubes or spiral wires with heavy ferrocore. Also, maybe the impedance will go away when the electromagnets would exchange the static ones, or when such mechanism would be exchanged with simple quiet electric inverter motor, especially for heavy bass. I also think that the polyhexagonal base membrane would be better than round one. At last I would try to make speakers in pairs for every frequency. The one would get only unpaired and other paired frequencies. 1, 3, 5, 7, second one 2, 4, 6, 8. This way there will be more space for speaker to start and break. The other idea when it will not work is to make them exchanging each other by some parts of frequencies. 1 to 40 Hz, then 41 to 80 Hz, then again 81 to 120 Hz. We may also look at bandpass and instead of making 2 times its frequency, make it for example 10,000 kilobits per second or less, trying to synchronize them, or make different kilobits per second for different frequencies. The closer the base, they need less kilobits per second. I remember Amiga bass samplers sounded amazing on their 32,000. So tell me what you think, and for the next time.